Hey everybody, it is Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm coming to you with what is probably the final video in my Mark 12 Mod 1 build. And I just want to put the final touches on this, show you guys kind of the completed project, talk to you guys about one other thing that I got for this that I think kind of completes the package. But here is pretty much the complete rifle. Now, in the last video, I showed you that I put on an A2 stock, and when I put it on and when I was done filming the video, the thing I discovered is that little spacer in the back of the A2 stock, it was loose. And I've had this problem before with A2 stocks where the distance between the back of the receiver and the butt plate is literally just this much too long, and that spacer rattles. And some people it's not going to bother, but for me it did. And I was like, I don't know if I want to waste money on another A2 stock just to try to get this thing to fit. I don't know why. The dimensions are a little bit off. So I went with another clone correct stock. I went with the A1. So I picked this one up from Brownells. I just removed the spacer. I used the same buffer tube, put it on, and it doesn't have any type of rattle. And this is, as I said, very clone correct. They were using A1 stocks. Many of the pictures you'll see online, they use the A1 stock. And so while I was doing that, I also changed out the grip to an A1 grip. So that matches as well. You'll also notice that the scope is now mounted a little bit further forward. In one of my videos previously, I talked about this loophole scope and trying to mount everything to the top rail of the receiver. And everything was kind of condensed in order for me to put everything on that rail and have all the rings line up. The rear of the scope was a little bit too far back. It was not going in the case right, and I thought it kind of looked weird. And I was thinking to myself, you know, I can put it out on the front rail, and I was like, well, I don't think that's right. But then I got the final piece in what I think is the nice finishing touch on my deployment kit, and I bought these from Onyx Arms. They do a complete reproduction of the operator's manual. All the Department of Defense information is on it. I mean, everything in there that would have come from Crane, that would have been shipped with the rifle. I got the weapon record book, as well as the tag for it, and it has the NSN number, Mark 12 Mod 1, so forth, so the service tag. So all this stuff is reproduction, but it is really, really cool to have. And I noticed something on the front of the operator's manual. You'll see that even from Crane, they mounted the scope with the front scope ring on the rail. So for those saying you can't or shouldn't do that, well, that's what the military put on their manual. And so I did that. It puts the scope a little bit further forward, which is nice because now the A1 stock is a little bit shorter. So my head will be a little bit closer to the scope, so the eye relief is better. Plus, it looks a little bit more balanced. So that is, I'm going to say it's correct because it's on the manual that comes from the military. But everything else is good. Over time, I'm a lot happier now with the color of the barrel. Now, I talked in a previous video that from my understanding, when these things came from Crane and were shipped to the units, everything was in black. And the barrels were, I guess, Cerakoted. My research tells me it was actually gun coat, not Cerakote. And Cerakote is a ceramic finish. Gun coat is not. It's a chemical finish. And it came in what was gun coat gray that some people now call Crane gray. But gun coat is not as durable as Cerakote. And there's companies that will Cerakote the barrels when you buy them, the Douglas barrels, in what they call Crane Gray, which might or might not be correct because different companies, the shades are a little bit different. And I was trying to figure this out at the time when I bought the barrel and had it finished. And I talked to the guy that was going to do it. Great guy. He knows a lot about the different colors, did a great job in this. And he looked at the pictures and said, you know, there's no exact color match to this. But it looks like it's either Sniper Gray or Glock Gray. Now, this is supposed to match the gray frames of a Glock. And I went online and I looked up the colors. Said, yeah, I mean, it looks a lot more gray online and the pictures that Cerakote has than what I think I got. I thought it had a little bit of a bluish hue to it. But over time, maybe because it's cured a little bit more, it's definitely a dark gray. And I like it a lot better now. The Sniper Gray, according to Cerakote's website, and I looked this up later, says it has a bluish hue to it, where the Glock Gray is a dark gray with a metallic, I guess, finish to it. So it's supposed to, and what I was trying to go for was to mimic the color of like a Colt 6920 barrel. You know, if you ever get like a stock Colt AR, the anodization on the uppers and lowers are black, but the finish, I don't know, was it a phosphate finish or the, anyway, whatever the finish is on the barrel is a little bit grayish. It's not black, and I was trying to go for that. And that's what I think I got on this, so I'm happy with it. But I have seen some pictures of some of the ones when they came from Crane, and it's a very gray finish, closer to what the color of the magazine is. So this is an OK Industries magazine. You can kind of see that color there. And that is, let's see if I can adjust this here. You can see the color of the barrel versus the color of the magazine. I don't know if that's coming across. This is a little bit lighter gray. So maybe I should have gone with that and try to find something that would match the magazine a little bit better. But overall, I'm happy, and I have seen lots of pictures of U.S. military personnel using the Mark 12 Mod 1s, where either everything is rattle-canned, they put on their own camouflage. I have seen a lot where the barrels were black as well. So I don't think there necessarily was a specific color. Some people will say they came gray or Crane gray. But once the end users got them, they would be painted over anyway. But I've seen some that came from Crane with all black barrels. So I can't be more specific. I don't think that they ever came in the raw stainless steel, because that would be reflective. And I know if you're going to be using this, especially in a long distance application, you don't want anything to be that reflective. So they definitely painted over the stainless steel with something. As I said, my research says it is Gun Coat Gray is the official Crane Gray, but I'm glad I went with Cerakote because it's a little bit more durable. But this gray does match closer to like an AR barrel from like Colt or something. So that's it. The whole deployment kit is now together with this little finish. The only things I'm waiting on, of course, is the suppressor, the AEM5 by Allen Engineering. I'll probably have to wait another 150 days on the NFA approval process, so then I'll have that. And I'm still waiting on the rail for the top of the scope ring. And that's it. Just waiting for those to be made and available. And they most likely will sometime in the future here. So that's it. So this is my Mark 12 Mod 1. So what recommendations would I have after going through this process for people that may be looking at building something like this or want to copy this? Well, there's a lot of the parts on this rifle that are still in production, and they're not hard to find. And I would recommend going online, and there's a couple of places like Reddit and so forth and the cloners' websites where you can get a complete list of all the parts. And some of those people go into in-depth of alternate parts that either look the same or are the modern equivalents, okay? So make a list and figure out what you want to do, what you want your build to be. Do you want it to be ultra clone correct, or as close as you can get, like I tried to go, or do you want it to be just clone inspired? Make a parts list. Make a parts list. And decide how important certain things are. Do you really want a Colt lower? Does that matter to you? Or could you go with something else? As long as it's mil spec or whatever. Do you want an A1 profile, A2 profile, and why? Just make your list. Make the determination. Build it out on paper. Then start to go through the list, and I say focus first on the harder to find things. Because as time goes on, the harder to find parts are going to be the things that will only go up in price. Like, you don't have to worry about the Daniel Defense Mark 12 gas block in the beginning, because those are made, they're used on tons of guns, they're not going out of production anytime soon. The Knights Armament sights, same thing, okay? The bipod, the Harris bipod, not going out of stock anytime soon, okay? But things that I would focus on first on this build would be the rail, the barrel. Okay, the barrel's still in production. You got to make sure you get it from the right place with the right profile. The rail has got to be number one. Then the barrel. Then I would say anything that is Mark 12 specific, like the muzzle device and the what's it called? The oh my gosh, it's not the turret. Oh my gosh, the anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about right here. Skipping my mind right now. And then decide what you're going to do with the upper and lower receivers. Do you want to get Colt? What do you want to do there? But things like the furniture, the Geisley trigger, that stuff is easy to get. And then kind of price it out and then start looking online for the availability. Some things you can get really, really good deals on. So for example, the Harris bipod. I got this one just because I use a Cabela's MasterCard for everything. So my points bought that for me. Sometimes you'll see deals on Brownells or Geisley, and you can get these triggers, which normally retail for like $250, for literally $150, you know, and you get it with free shipping, you know, and Geisley will have those sales like on Black Friday or whatever. Oh yeah, this is called the collar. The collar. That's what I was thinking. Sorry, the muzzle device and the collar. I don't know why I couldn't think about that. Then occasionally you'll see certain places. Then there's websites and stores that deal a lot with clone parts. They run specials. You know, sometimes you'll see these, the muzzle device and the collar on sale somewhere for a crazy low price. They're like, hey, we're just running a sale. We got tons of these. We're giving them away. You know, whatever. So they give them away for like, you know, $75 when really it's $150 or whatever. And if you are patient, unlike me, you can start to piece these parts together and save some money. Save some money. But where you're not going to save money is going to be the rail. You're going to pay way too much. The MSRP on these is like $350. You're not going to see them for any cheaper than $1,200. If you want a clone correct scope, you got to look and look and look. And you're going to pay out the butt for them. But occasionally, on the bigger stores like the Brownells, the Midway USA, they'll have sales on all loopholes or whatever, and they might have some of those in stock because they make occasional runs of them. You can get them for a good deal. Then you use like the coupons that they offer. You know, it's like save $150 on a $1,000 purchase or whatever. You save money that way. But yeah, everything, I would say map it out. Focus on the harder to get stuff first. Save your money for that. And then on your list, kind of figure out who sells what. Wait for deals. Wait for Black Friday. Or just look for coupon codes. Or for them to email. You know, like a lot of these stores will have weekly deals, you know, where they just discount stuff from certain manufacturers. Like Daniel Defense on this gas block, you know. They'll have it for like a real cheap price and so forth. And you just map it out that way. And if you want to go with the whole deployment kit, do that. And those lists of what goes with it and in that deployment kit are on those websites as well. The deployment kit's not too hard to put together with the foam and the Pelican 1700 case. The hardest thing in there would be to figure out the sling. That's the hardest thing. Besides that, that's it. So I hope this helps somebody. In the future, if anybody has any questions, you know, they can always email me. I get questions about my Mark 18 build all the time. But anyway, while I changed out the grip and the stock to the A1, which I do think makes the gun look a little bit more balanced, and as I said, this thing is for the most part complete, I did take the opportunity, and someone said I needed to do it on my 9mm SBR AR-15. This is the one that I did all those pistol brace videos on that I changed to more like an A1 look. I did change out the grip to an A1 as well, because when I was on Brownells, these things were like $13 a piece. So I picked up one of those. I had an A2 stock on it. I can't remember who told me I needed to put an A1 on it. Maybe it was Craig, I think. But anyway, I did do that. So I got the A1 grip on that one. So that looks really awesome as well. So anyway, there it is. My Mark 12 Mod 1 build. I could not honestly be any happier. So it turned out great. The whole deployment kit, just waiting on a couple of parts, waiting on the NFA branch. And this thing is honestly complete. And some things, no matter what, you will have to sacrifice on. For me, biggest sacrifices on this one will probably be the sling swivel, because the Knights Armament ones are just unobtainium. The sling, the Eagle Industries TAC 1 is impossible to find, but luckily I had Manuel, who had two that were clone correct from later in the era, and what people ran on these. And yeah, that's it. So I'm super happy with this thing. The color of the barrel I was bothered by for a while, but now that it's cured and it looks like it's definitely a dark gray. Very happy with it. As I said, it's Glock gray, but it's not affiliated with Glock. It's just a color that it's supposed to be a dark gray with a metallic, like a flake to it. And it looks very close to like a Colt 6920 barrel that comes from the factory. So there you go. Some people might want to have that a little bit more lighter gray, like the magazine, like I was telling you. But a lot of the operators in the field would paint over these things. I've seen them all in black, seen them all in flat dark earth. I really have honestly not seen one in the field with that crane gray of the pictures that I found. So, but anyway, that's it. My Mark 12 Mod 1 build. What do you guys think? Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys learned something. I know I did. And I definitely need to make a video about all of my clone rifles. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. And I hope you've enjoyed this. So as always, thanks for watching.